Hey everybody, this is Heidi. In this episode of So Remixed, I'm going to take a pair of scissors that I downloaded from pixel77.com for free that essentially to me look like a pair of hair cutting shears, and I want to change them into a pair of sewing scissors. So I'm going to take these scissors, copy, bring them over into this document where I've got a pair of Ginger scissors, a very popular pair of sewing scissors. I'm going to convert this via 2-vector using image trace, and I'm going to merge the two pairs of scissors. So when I do image trace, I always like to keep an original copy of my image over on the left or somewhere off the artboard. So let me select this image, and from the control panel at the top I choose image trace. This is in CC 2014. If you're in CS5 or earlier, it's called live trace and works a little bit differently, but essentially is the same concept. My result doesn't look so good from the default setting, so I want to open my image trace panel. I do that again by clicking on the image trace panel icon along the control panel at the top. That opens up the image trace panel for me. The first setting that I know I want to adjust is the threshold. The threshold determines what pixels are converted to black versus what pixels are converted to white. Now, in this instance, my scissors were gray, sort of silver, and all those pixels were pretty light. So a lower threshold will take those light colored pixels and convert them to white. A higher, more threshold will take light colored pixels and convert them to black. So I think that about 225 looks pretty good. I'm going to delete all these little portions here. I want this to be a really flat looking illustration. And from here, that looks pretty good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and expand. I can click on that from my control panel up at the top. And I'm going to close my image trace panel. Now, the first thing I want to do is I want to delete all of the white portion. So on image trace, it draws any blank portion as white. Now I don't really want that. There's an option to ignore white in the panel, but then it creates blank paths for any of the negative portions. I think it's a bug. It worked really well in CS6, and in CC14 and CC it's not working quite the same. So just go ahead and use the magic wand to delete all the white. Now I'm going to take my hair cutting scissors over here and let's rotate them so they're going the right way. Now, I want to use the shears from this pair of scissors and the handles from this pair of scissors. So, using my direct selection tool, I'm going to delete the handles from this pair of scissors, delete that stray anchor point there, and delete the blades from this pair of scissors. Now, what I want to do is I want to cut this shape here in half. So, I'm going to take these two anchor points, which is now an open path. I'm going to choose Command J or Control J to join that. I'm then going to use my pen tool to draw a path in between where I want to cut this shape in half. Now this path needs to have a stroke and no fill. I then come over to my Pathfinder panel and I choose Divide. I need to select the object I want to divide as well as the path that I'm going to use to divide it. Click on that. Now this will automatically be grouped, so I'm just going to ungroup, Command Shift G, and I've broken my scissors into two. So that looks pretty good. Now I'm going to move these down. I think I'm going to need to do a little bit of rotating with my shapes. So I'll get this all dialed in to where I think looks good. That looks pretty decent. Now I need to fill this portion in. Now if I really want to line this up nicely, I can turn on my Smart Guides and I can get that to snap. Come down to this portion, and those look actually pretty good. I don't think I need to do anything there. What I'm then going to do is I'm going to use my pen tool, and I'm just going to draw a shape that fills in that white shape there, making sure that it's actually big enough to fill it in. No gaps. Okay. So it's starting to look something like what we want. I then want to take these objects and merge them using the Pathfinder tool. So right now I've got a bunch of individual little drawn shapes and that's not what I want. So I'm going to use the Unite feature, the upper left corner, and what that does is it will unite them all into one shape. And then I'm going to come in here and using my direct selection tool I'm going to select all of these, essentially what are compound paths, and delete them because again I want a flat illustration. So personal preference, but this is what I want. I'm going to come in here and fix this. It takes a little bit of tweaking. Live or image trace is not a perfect science. Every time you're going to need to make different adjustments, do different settings depending on the image that you've started with and the result that you want. But now my scissors look pretty good. They look more like a pair of sewing scissors and less like a pair of hair cutting scissors. I could even make the blades a little bit bigger so that they look a little bit more like the gingers. So there you go. Easily transform a vector download that you can grab for free with another image that you can use image trace on. You don't have to know how to use all the tools and draw everything from scratch in Illustrator. There's a lot of great resources out there to grab and use them with the features you know how to use in Illustrator to get exactly the result that you want. Thanks for watching this episode of Sew Remixed. This is Sew Heidi. I'll see you next time.